there's this place called Findhorn. I've heard of this place, Findhorn's its name. Their arts and their gardens earn 'em their fame. But take my advice and don't you go there, for some spend their precious hours by tending to the weeds and talking to the flowers. Yes, talking to the flowers. Another funny thing there, but mind you keep it quiet. Eggs, fruits, nuts and veg, that's their main diet. They meditate for hours on end. Some people think they're round the bend. They're supposed to be a centre of light, but I got lost there the other night.
You got the water, then I got the jug, mama. You got some wisdom, I got some love, lady. You got the sunshine, I got some truth. We got the love light, there's no substitute. Hey, get down to business, concrete in the plan. Let's get down to business, building up a new land. You got to find yourself a family, living in the new land. Find yourself a family, bringing in the new power. Oh, mama, bring in the new power.
The amazing thing about Findhorn is that it is in Scotland. It is, you know, like the wind just blows the sand, the topsoil off that field over there and just blows it like a blizzard all the way across. I mean, it's cold. The people here from tropical climates and they have to live through northern Scotland winters, you know. You're living, sometimes 4 or 5 people in a caravan, you know. I mean, here's a community living in a handful of caravans on a caravan park, you know. They don't own their own land. They're actually renting the whole trip, you know. I mean, these are all things that, you know, no man in his right mind would dream of holding a community under these conditions, you know. And
right on top of an Air Force base.
it's right beside it's right beside jet planes going off here all the time, you know. It's just not, it's not the best, it's not the ideal conditions to be in, you know. And like you, if you're not in Findhorn and you're looking towards Findhorn as the place where it's at, you know, I mean, one thing Findhorn teaches you is to count your blessings, you know.
I'm going to take you on a very brief tour of the community. Normally it takes 3 or 4 afternoons, but we'll cut it down this afternoon to tell you something about the founding of the community and how it's grown step by step. And as most of you know, I was manager of Clewley Hill Hotel, a luxury hotel in Forres, for 6 years. We used to come down past this caravan park to swim in the summer at Findhorn. And we used to look at this caravan park and think, fancy living in a dump like that. Cheek by jowl with a lot of other caravans there. And again, to cut a long story short, I was given the sack from the hotel. We had nowhere to go but our caravan that was on the site down, the other site down at Findhorn. And so I asked Irene to get guidance whether we were to come there. And yes, that was where we were to move. So one snowy November day in 1962, that was where we came to. It was this dump of old tin cans, broken bottles, and all the rest of it but at least it was away from the other caravans. And we thought it was only for a few weeks, that we wouldn't have to stay in such a place for very long.
I knew there were lessons to be learned, but why did we have to start accepting national assistance? That was the lowest we could get.
But on the other hand, my faith was completely, it was absolute in the guidance that Eileen had, and I knew that God had work for us to do, and I was being prevented from getting a job because it was more important that I concentrated on getting this garden established and then later this Centre of Light established. And so we were really supported by the state while this was being done. And then they had a committee in Elgin to investigate why I hadn't got a job, because here was I, fit, strong. I demonstrated that I was a capable hotel manager, and it completely baffled them that every job I went for just collapsed in some miraculous way.
And you were really trying to get
I was really trying to get the job, but I was being prevented from getting the job. So finally they sent one of their inspectors along who had a great thick file on there after I'd been on unemployment benefit for about 5 years. And after he'd gone through this, he said, well, would you say that God was preventing you from getting a job? I said, yes, I would indeed. He said that. Well, then he had an ace card up his sleeve. He said, then presumably if God, if we cut you off from unemployment benefit, then that God would meet your needs. And I said, oh, yes, yes, he would. And that's what they did, and that's what God did. Because, so by the world's standards, we were pretty poor, but all the needs were met. And wonderfully, and we led a very full life, but a very hard-working life. I used to work in the garden from 8:30 in the morning in the summer till 11 o'clock at night.
Because this garden is an experimental garden in the cooperation between three kingdoms. That of man, the creator of the garden, the devas, the angelic archetypal forces, and the nature spirits, the fairies, gnomes, elves. This is what the garden is made of. But some people have said, oh yes, you can grow anything on sand. And so we were very interested when Professor Lindsay Robb, the consultant to the Soil Association, one of the leading, or probably the leading authority on organic husbandry, and when he analysed this soil, he said you couldn't have worse soil. So we started on the very worst soil with a chap that didn't know how to garden there. So you see, you couldn't say it was the soil or the skill of the gardener. There are other factors that account for the growth in this garden.
There is a difference gardening here. I don't know what your attitude to weeds are, but we really just see them as plants that are in the wrong place. So when you really pull one up, don't do it with hate, really do it with love, and just see if you can communicate to that plant that it'll be ending up on the compost heap, and it's returning to the garden in that way.
back into here now. Okay? Just put it right here again. Okay? You have the manure, you have the seaweed, you have the straw, you have the green grass and the weeds. Most of these materials would come together naturally anyway. It's just that what we're doing is we're really just helping nature by putting them together quicker. By helping nature, she'll help you, and by doing it properly, you know, it comes out in the flowers and in the vegetables that you're going to eat.
Here.
Throw it up and then hold it.
Hey, Rich,
Yeah?
have you tried back onto it?
Yeah, I prefer it this way.
Sure. This is where the advantage comes in of you being tall.
These walks do the job themselves, really.
Yeah. Never try to restrict anything. Don't try to restrict your tool. If you grip onto it, you're restricting the tool from doing what it wants to do, okay? And if you just dip it in and slide it, it virtually does everything that it wants to do and everything you want it to do. And then the fork really becomes an extension of what you are.
It's a really good experience here to feel open this morning to a flow between you and the plants. Don't expect words at all. Certainly you will experience a feeling, a flow between you and the particular plant. And just take your time, don't dash through the garden. The main point is just to become still and to really feel what that plant energy is, and it'll really vibrate with your energy, and it's a real feeling. In a normal garden this can still happen, but here the plants have had this treatment over and over, so it's a really good place to start.
Salmon in the foam know the way to get back home to the river where green hills arise. Feather hills where flowers grow, hungry bees fly to and fro, they never lose their way. Honey children on the wing, tell me now an urgent thing. Tell me how the planet will be. Yeah. Tell me how the planet will be. Son of man, for endless hours we have been the guests of flowers. In each one sweet honey is revealed. Within the flower of human love there lives a holy guest, a dove who drops the seeds of love in every field, in every path, in every land. Love is fashioning a garland. By the hands of love, earth will be.
In the caravan, there was really no peace and quiet, as you can imagine, with 3 boys and 3 adults. So, in desperation, I said, Father, where can I find peace and quiet? I need to be alone. And it came so clearly, go down to the public toilets. There you will find peace and quiet. And I said, oh no, surely not there. And again it said, yes, go down there. So I used to go down there, and I used to spend a couple of hours. Fortunately, there were about 3 or 4 toilets down there, so I didn't sort of keep anyone out. But that's where I used to get my tremendous inspiration and revelations.
And how many years did you do that
I
for?
did it for about 5 years. Every day, oh yes, without fail. Hail, rain, snow, or anything else, I used to trot down there, and that's where I got it. What it proved to me was that God is within, and God is everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're in the public toilet or whether you're in a, in a sanctuary. It doesn't make any difference. The voice is within.
I had a feeling all through my mechanical life, when I was a marine engineer, that machinery had a soul. And I used to get this most curious feeling of affection for machines. And I would lay my hands on one as I was going by and say, well done, and then I'd have a quick look around to see if anybody was looking. And on 1 or 2 occasions, my intuitive faculty told me what was wrong with machines when nobody else had been able to diagnose what was wrong. So I thought there was something very interesting here. And that remained in my memory until I got to Findhorn. And I read that not only were there devas of flowers and elementals working with them, but there were devas of machinery and elementals working within them. And suddenly, the whole thing seemed to make much more sense. Suddenly I realized why I talked to my car, as so many people do, why I had this affinity with machinery. And that was a really exciting thing to find out. Then, of course, I got deeper into it and realized that if you take a piece of metal, which we normally think of as inanimate and not having any being, and shape it, and love it, and make it into something useful, it in itself becomes more intelligent.
It doesn't want to be going in our face.
But it doesn't look it.
Oh.
No gas, no electricity, so it must be the end of the world.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. okay?
Yeah.
Don't be long, she'll be late.
Sit down to me coffee.
It is rather an amusing thing, because I came to Findhorn first because I thought it was a big contract, you know, to see how it worked. Well, I was serving as an RAF officer at Kinloss, and one day I was told that I was to be the escorting officer for the local hippie commune who were coming to visit. And so I thought, oh, what a charming evening. So I put my best suit on and went to meet these people, and we found we got on extremely well. So there was something about these people that was different. And I know it now. I didn't at the time spot it, but I did know very soon afterwards what it was, that they had some unity amongst them. They had a team spirit amongst them, which was the same type of spirit that we needed in the Air Force for our crews to work. And I was intrigued to some extent as to how they'd got it. And so I accepted the invitation to come and have a look at the Findhorn community. So I came across and had a look, stayed a day, I think, saw the material side of it, and there was something here. It was more than pleasant. It was pleasant, but it was pleasant plus. There was something else which I could detect. And I knew they'd meditated, and what that was, I didn't know what this meditation was, and the sanctuary was, well, a nice room, but people talked and I heard a few words I didn't understand at all. I mean, esoteric was a word I had never heard.
Would you like some more toast? Me? Yeah, we'll go.
It wasn't making any sense the first time.
He was the last man in the world you'd expect to come here. He just didn't believe in anything. And then when he came home, he changed, hadn't he? One thing that shook me was he came in my kitchen, because we had our own kitchens, and he just put his arms out and came and hugged me. And I thought, Lord, something really has happened to him, because it never does that, never. It was really funny. He had changed. For the better, too. And then, of course, we just had to come up and see for ourselves, you see. And then we said, yes, that's all right, we all came.
I had the most difficult period of my whole life, I think, because previously I'd always been very uncertain of myself, and I'd always been a depressive and had to keep going back to the doctor for pills and so on, just to calm me down and keep me going. And the fact that Dick first phoned and wrote to say how different things were, and then came back a totally different person, and one I really wanted to relate to, this new person. I felt I could really get to live with this one, you know. And so the thing was that I had to change too, to go the same way.
Say goodbye.
Go and get Jan, then.
Oh.
You're going to be waiting. You're very early, Mother.
I think you are early, aren't you?
He never runs when we come down here.
Do any of you wash or clean your teeth?
Incredible. Have you seen it? Oh, it's amazing.
Taking your hand, I know you say, easy come, easy go. I say, what a nice way to flow. It's so easy. When I'm out on the road, I'm knowing you share my load. Kettle's home on the stove, it's so breezy. What a way to look at life. It's the only way to look at life. I can be a cook now, you can write a book now. That's the way to look at life. Taking your hand, I know you say, easy come, easy go. I said, what's a nice way to flow.
All the way from the United States of America.
You lie at Findhorn.
In the past, a lot of people in this area had some really strange ideas of the community and what was happening here. And so when basketball first started here and we started playing, which was before I came here, it was really a beautiful bridge because the people in the area realized that we weren't just a bunch of weirdos talking to flowers and dancing around, having orgies and all that kind of stuff.
It really came out, I felt, in the tournament. They really got to appreciate what we were trying to do out there. And they were all for us. I mean, everyone there was for us, because we went out there to demonstrate how good we can play basketball, but how well we can attune to various people. And not just our own people, but the other team as well. And just the interchange of like a comradeship within the sport really brought it to a really clean, good basketball game.
We're not into it for the competitive sport anymore, but just as more of a group sharing. We had the Scottish tournament up here where we played Inverness, and the Inverness team won by something like 20 or 30 points. It was pretty much a landslide. Time developed, and we got a team together and we started working together. Working together as a group with a really close attunement. The next time we played the team, just by using the principle of really maintaining your center, we almost made the Inverness team dance. Just getting into that whole momentum creates an amazing atmosphere. We won the game, it wasn't even close. But the whole focus of the experience shifted from one team against another team to a group of people expressing themselves.
Do they give you a hard time?
At school they do, yeah.
What happened?
Well, they just make fun of you.
What do they say?
I'll just say, give my regards to the flowers.
Does it bother you at all?
No.
I just don't want to protect them at all. I mean, I don't want my children to be freaks or be nothing but carrot juice. I want them to be able to go out to school and cope with the world as it is today.
Off we go. What no sauce? One at a time.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Damien. Happy birthday to you.
Come out, ladies and gentlemen, lords and ladies.
A lot of people have been thinking, is this actually a place for families? And I've thought that myself sometimes. And the thing which keeps me here, because it's not easy and it never has been easy, but what keeps me here is that situations keep presenting themselves to me which are obviously tailor-made for me, like steps that I have to take or people I can help. Or I just know that this situation is placed here for my growth, and I know also that what's right for me couldn't be wrong for the children.
my sister had an electrician working in her house, and she spoke to him about some New Age ideas, spiritualism and so on. And the man turned to her and said, "Do you know, I think you're a little cracked." "Well," she replied, "even a little crack will let in a little light."
Have this one up first. This is the one you've had trouble with, isn't it?
Yes.
Where?
Just leave it.
Just leave it, she says. What have you got hidden up there?
I've got... Now this is where the trouble begins.
I know. There
You
we
didn't
are.
see much with the other
We
fruit.
found something, some crystals, and they're caused by uric
I
acid.
felt them
Uric
in this
acid.
boot too, Johnny.
Is it going? Can you feel the
Actually,
pain up your leg now?
Eh?
You can, can't
Yes,
you?
yes. It does make me feel funny.
Well, I don't want you to feel funny.
No.
Are you all right?
No, I'm all right. I'm still talking. Still looking.
talking. When I was newish in this community, I sat in the sanctuary one day, and I said, I should be able to see something. And I was thinking very hard, I wish I could see things as other people. And I think I must have looked through my eyelashes, very sort of looked through my eyelashes somehow. And I saw something going like this. And my heart went, seeing something, what on earth is it? And I opened my eyes, and it was a fellow with a pair of white socks on and his 2 toes up. And he was going like that while he was meditating. I was so disappointed that I hadn't seen anything after all. But I'm one of these people that are jolly well not going to see anything ever. I know that. Peter's the same, so I don't feel so bad. But it's
Don't
amazing.
put that obstacle in your path.
Oh, that's
no.
low.
If you
No,
make
I
up
know.
your mind you're not going to see anything, you won't. You remember Peter said to somebody, a lady who had said to him that she always had a second choice ready if the first one didn't work out. He said, and it was always the second one that she got. She said, yeah. He said, yes. If you wish for the second best, you'll get it.
All right, then.
Which was quite a good
All right.
Good. Oh, boy.
Oh, what's the matter? Have you got cramp?
I didn't ask it to John Hilton says that I at once answered a question. That when somebody said, do people often die here?
Oh, yes.
I said, no, only once.
Jenny, do the young people here make you feel old?
Well,
The
no,
young
but you
people.
don't really feel old with them. They're all so nice.
No, I know they're
It's
beautiful.
only in attempting to do physical things that one begins to feel a little bit inadequate. Because inside, I mean, when I think of the age I am, I laugh. I think it's ridiculous. I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Okay. Not yet, boys.
All right. Tell me, where do you see?
The whole back wall came off at one time.
Is it?
Yeah, perfect shape. Just lay it up here. Yeah.
Push it.
Both sides.
Low. Where's the excess now?
Okay, folks. That's it done. Just get that center. My old football coach told me that too. Get that center. Okay, folks.
For 3 days.
I've been so out of attunement, you know, like all I saw was imbalance in the world, imbalance in what was happening to me. And like, in some ways, the only ways we ever truly grow are when we get so down, you know, that you just seem like you're in total desperation. That's what's been happening to me the past 3 days. I feel like I felt, at least, you know, especially this morning as I got up, that I'm just starting from square one. You know, like, what has it all been for, you know? I mean, all this has led up to the point where I've just had to release everything, and it's just all gone, and I'm here, and I can't force my expectations upon myself or anybody else. And in a large sense, I walked into the site that first day just totally disoriented because, you know, when you realize you have to release all this stuff, it's really painful in the beginning. Like, it really hurts. Boy, does it really hurt. So, and that is what I've been gradually just plowing toward the last couple of days. Like, say, realizing within the middle of this total disorientation that you've got to cut the steel mesh up, you know, because somehow your solution out of this negative state of consciousness is somehow tied up in cutting that mesh up and doing it right. There's something tied up with getting that work done that's going to extricate you from this situation. It's going to help you grow through it.
I think one of the other lovely things is when there is this time when you think you're out of attunement, the beauty is when the rest of the group hold you steady, they just accept what you're going through, knowing that it's going to be their turn maybe tomorrow.
Like when Ed was going through something, we fed him love and just showed him that, you know, we were one with him, you know, and we did love him, you know, and everything was right. Everything was all right.
I'm so loving this. Loving. It's the most fascinating thing when I know that I'm sitting here with a group of people who are just as concerned about me as I used to be about myself. In fact, I don't need to be concerned about myself any longer because I've got all of you to do it for me. It's far healthier.
You're leaving. What's it been like working here?
Oh, good, like. It's terrific working here.
Has it been different from working other places?
Well, in a way, yes. It's that everybody seems to be happy. And the sites that I'm usually on, like, it's usually just everybody's chasing each other up, like. But here, like, everybody just mucks in, the thing goes sweet.
Do you know much about what people from around the area think about Findhorn?
See, some people say that they're hippies, you know. But I say, well, they're no hippies to me, like. You know, I've worked with them too long now to think of that hippies in a hippie sense, like. They ask me where I'm working, and I just say, like, and they say, what like? And I said, well, I said, they're just the same as you boys, maybe some of them better, but again, some of them worse. Because, of course, it's the same in my way of living, like, there's some bad, some good. But I tell you, you get on better, like, living with each other, like, than I could say I do with my friends, like, yeah. Because, well, I only explain, like, they have arguments, like, but they sit down and find out how the arguments start, you see, well, but that doesn't happen the way I live, like. It's usually a fight, like, or something, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I think their way is good, like, they seem to be happy, like. And what more can you ask for?
Okay, then we'll have to roll. We'll have to let it roll. No, it's coming.
It's going to go, yeah. It's going to go, yeah. So you can get out of control.
All right.
No, there's plenty of it on there.
Okay, let it down a little more. Wowee. It's not going to get away from us.
Shouldn't do it.
The other end's not coming.
Come on.
Pull it down.
It's a shortcut.
Or is it caught? There we go.
Your end down.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. We up already? Okay. All right.
I don't think this has been done before when there's been a community that has been founded on strong authoritarian leadership, and that it has changed there to a group and a group consciousness, and that delegation of responsibility to the focalizers of the 21 groups within the community.
The focalizer's job is just to keep reminding people to pinpoint that vision, so it's tuned in with the central vision always, because that's how we physically apart, someone working at the other end, we're not separated because we're working for the same vision, the same thing.
We are, we must remember, still in an interim stage, and not everybody can turn within to get their own directions. And in this interim stage, sometimes a strong focalizer is needed, because that focalizer is responsible for the vision and responsible for the running of that department. So if everybody in the department isn't getting it from within, then other measures have to be used to ensure that that organ of the whole is functioning well and efficiently, and people are growing in it.
True, but you have to be sensitive also, as you know, about when those people can grow, instead of a strong focalizer or a person, very dynamic person to pull everybody along. You know, that's not the point of the exercise.
Sometimes in a new department it may need a strong focalizer to draw to that department the money, the people, and get the thing going. Then it can become more a group thing.
It's just important to know when to step back.
That's it.
You know,
it's not always easy.
People. No, I mean, that, you know that as well as anybody. There's a lesson for everyone there.
I think the biggest change and growth for the community was when I left for a month in June to visit the United States. And we'd been preparing for this for about 9 months, when the core group, I shared every morning for about an hour and a half with the core group of 8 or 9 people that would be in the center and to be responsible while I was away. And the community found its maturity.
Isn't it wonderful, Peter, how flexible we are at Findhorn?
Yes, it's absolutely essential that we take direct action and pinpoint all of our focus on these challenges and be very, very positive at this time. As for myself, I have to meet some very, very important people at the airport right now, and I think perhaps Joseph and some people could form a committee and just take care of this.
Peter,
balance. Yes.
Peter, they didn't come to the community just to see you. They came to see the whole community in action.
Yes, just as I was saying.
We'll all go together, Peter.
Yes.
Right, we can go as a group, Peter.
Of course. Of course, just as I was saying, you work on it here, and I'll go there. And we'll have this good group action. There. Well.
No more you, it's us, Peter. We're all together.
All together.
Yes, I have it clear.
This form a committee. No more committees, no more meetings, Peter. It's right action by the whole.
You mean I could just be one of the guys and we can all go to the pub? Right! It's interesting to see the changes that have taken place over the period of at least a year, as far as I'm concerned, in Peter, because slowly but surely he's blending and loosening up little by little. For a long time he had been totally a servant to Findhorn and not really to himself. But he's becoming more and more whole.
I think I've relied on Peter a great deal. We have complemented each other really in the past, and now I feel that what I've got to do is to really and truly be completely balanced within myself, and he's got to be the same. And I feel as we do that, then we'll bring a greater balance to the whole community.
Yes, yes.
No more of this, he is light and I am love,
no,
just
right.
separation, because that is a separation, really, and there's got to be a complete balance within each individual, really, in the community. Well, I think it was when Peter went away to the States, and he was away for a month, and I was left here alone with the community, and that was when I really experienced a family, a real family, and at that time I had an experience when I was told to open my heart, open the door of my heart, and to take the door off its hinges and throw it away and just let the love flow. And to me, that was universal love, divine love, which flowed out to everybody in the community at that time. And I learned an awful lot, you know, during that time. Far more than I'd ever learnt before, actually. So.
Well, just to share with you where Eileen and I are, we're growing, but I think it can be summed up in a vision that Eileen had of that our relationship. Go on, you tell it then.
You know, I was given a vision of, well, I was told to think of the University Hall and how the foundations had to be very, very strong. And then I was told that Peter's and my foundations are absolutely rock-like and unshakable, that they are based on God. But the structure has been completely destroyed, and now the debris has to be just cleared away. And that's really what's happening at the moment. It's the debris that's being cleared away, and then the new structure can be built on those foundations. And that's really what is happening now.
We're just clearing away the debris.
But there's quite a lot of debris. But I was also given that the new structure is going to be a beautiful white sort of temple of light. So there we are.
See, the old structure was a balance, as you know, of light and love. This time it's going to be a uniting of equally balanced light, love and wisdom. Now that doesn't come overnight. You know, you must be patient. I've been on the path of light for so long, and to suddenly change.
It so many times lately. But just trying to work it through.
Got what I was saying. But my changing also depends upon the community's changing. And a word from Roger, he said, just tell them that, will you? So I have.
There's no one left on the car. Okay. Okay.
You've got to keep your eye on the ball, haven't you? You want these called, Sue?
Oh, there's somebody who'd like a pair of gloves.
Okay, I'll throw them down in a
Just
second.
pass them down the line. Okay. Oh, the concrete. Okay. Coming for to carry me home.
Slow down,
Swing low, is chariot. Coming for to carry me home. Swing low, swing.
Are you interested in the spiritual side of life at all?
Very much indeed. Now, I must make this quite clear. I am a reporter, as you know, from the News of the World.
Yes.
Sean O'Brien is not a reporter. He is an observer in a private capacity at the Iona conference.
I see, yes. And you say you were observing in a private capacity. Are you connected with a group of some kind?
No, not at the moment, no. I should be joining a community fairly soon.
Is this a Christian community?
It's a community which embraces every kind of religion that you can think of pretty well. You don't have to subscribe to a particular faith.
We have a quote from Bishop Neil Russell that the whole of Caddy's lecture was in fact anti-Christ. We question the use of the Gnostic term, the Christ, using the definite article. Why, in fact, does Caddy, in the name of the Findhorn Trust, use Gnostic terms?
Because the Christ is spoken of as a cosmic principle, in one sense.
Which means, in fact, that Bishop Neil Russell is correct, and that the concept in itself is anti-Christian.
Oh, no. That's nonsense.
I think you're simplifying things too much.
I was brought up as Christian. I am still a Christian.
There is some public concern about Peter Caddy and his involvement in magic and communication with the nature spirits.
You call that magic. I call it sensitivity.
I would call it magic.
Right, well,
Doesn't matter, it's only a word,
let's
isn't it?
differ then.
Let's get to the truth behind it and forget the word. The word
So,
doesn't
in
matter.
fact, you are firmly convinced of the great god Pan and nature spirits.
I would probably never see Pan. I would perceive what I do perceive, the indwelling God in everything, not with any sense, but with an inner knowing.
You say you would never see Pan. That must mean that you believe in Pan.
No, I don't believe in Pan as a
But if you don't believe in it,
I
you
don't
will never
believe
see
in
it.
Pan as something which is within a certain kind of form, but I do believe there is a being behind, shall we say, the nature kingdom, which is rather different from the being which is behind the human kingdom. And I say being is a kind of consciousness. It's a consciousness. You see,
Now, in view of that point,
may
let
I
me
come in here?
just put another question there,
Go
following
on.
on this point directly. No, come in there, and I'll come back with my question in 2 minutes. Come in, I'll come back with mine.
This sort of community is not about intellectualization. It's something which is lived. That's why we're here. And we demonstrate in living. And you, yourself, perhaps despite yourself, are beginning to feel that here is something creative, something good. And I can only say to you that if you could only come and spend a few days here, you would learn more from that than all your questioning of John and myself and anybody else in the community.
Francois, if I told you twice, I told you 2 times. This is not an Eastern Center. We don't do that here.
At Findhorn, we do not follow this path nor that path. We follow no path, which is the path.
I was living in Belfast for a number of years, and I really wanted to know, I wanted to feel, I wanted to be, I wanted a certain freedom, you know, and I was aware that I didn't have it, or it wasn't in Belfast, you know. And when I first came in contact with Findhorn, this was just exactly what I really believed, you know. Like, when I want to talk to people about what I feel is really true, this is it, you know. So I came here, and after 6 months, adapting to new terminologies, new language, new concepts, new experiences, I realized the reason why I came to Findhorn was because in Belfast I was already at Findhorn, you know. I began to realise that in Findhorn I was learning to be myself. And the reason why I came here was because I recognised it. And the only way I could recognise because it was already there. Now I can move away from Findhorn. You know, I can leave Findhorn because I recognise that it's not Findhorn, it's me.
Hello, Peter.
Oh. Sha-la-la. Shoopy-doo. Hey. How can I describe the way I love you? Ooh, words don't seem to have a single chance. Slowly I perceive the light above you and recognize my partners in this dance. Dance on, my angel sisters. Dance on, my brothers of the sun. Dance on, my angel sisters. There's just so much work to get done.